Hello everyone and welcome back to the insane asylum that is Eternal Darkness. Last time we bore witness to Peter Jacobs' exploits as a journalist during the First World War in Amiens, France. He was the second person we've seen that not only managed to resist death by the hands of the ancients, but even managed to get the essence of Xelothath here in the Roivas estate. Now we have his lucky penny in our possession, so we should find something to do with it, I guess.
Help me! Please help me!
Oh dear. As if the wailing of children and women wasn't enough, now we're seeing ghosts.
I can't get the blood out!
And that spectral maid left behind the basement key. I guess we all know what we need to do with that, don't we? Oh, hello. Look at this. Ammunition. And more ammunition. Woohoo! That's right. Ammunition everywhere. No wonder where that came from.
This can't be happening!
And here we are. Once again at this basement. It looks fairly similar to what we saw in during Maximilian's era, but there are some subtle differences. First and foremost is this little thing here, this beauty, a pump-action shotgun hanging from a plaque mounted on the dusty wall. There's a new door here as well. A brass framework hangs from the ceiling, cradling the globe in the observatory above. It seems to have been modified, now part of some elaborate locking mechanism. Some shotgun shells, and it seems like this well that used to be here has been cemented up. More shotgun shells. And what do we have here? A fuse box and circuit breaker array is situated upon the wall. All but one of the fuses are intact. The absence of this one is suspicious, and until it is replaced, the circuit connected to it is useless. Lucky for us, we have a lucky penny. Alex jumps a lucky penny in place of the missing fuse. And with this, we can finally explore the upper floor bathroom. Let's see what else we can find here. The safe is large and old-fashioned, made in the days when security was derived from the heavy metal construction rather than secure locking mechanisms. It doesn't look like it would be too difficult to break the combination if only Alex had a stethoscope to hear the tumblers more clearly. That was quite particular. I mean, stethoscope? In any case, nothing to see here anymore. It's time to explore upstairs. What? Yep, this is completely normal. Nothing to worry about. It's fine. This is perfectly fine. Yep, I can see, you can all see that this is perfectly normal. Nothing wrong with this picture. Nope.
This isn't really happening!
Or is it, Alexandra? Can you even trust what your senses are saying you anymore? Saying to you, rather. Ah, this wonderful, wonderful landscape. I love this picture. I really do. Alright, enough faffing about. Finally. Alex has found a page from the journal of Maximilian Roivas. Let's see what it says. This is a page from Maximilian Roivas' journal. It reads, I sought to love all, yet now love causes me pain and suffering. I have learned to fear nothing, although it is nothing that I most fear. All that were loyal to me now slumber among my worst enemies. As you can see, he slowly lost his grip on reality, the poor man. What else can we find, apart from a large bathtub? A toilet. Here we have it. An antique medicine cabinet hangs on the wall. Its wood is stained from years of use and the ambient humidity of the room. Let's open it. I'm sure something nice will be inside. There we go. Hidden away inside the medicine cabinet is a chapter page from the tome of Eternal Darkness, this one entitled A Legacy of Darkness. And I think you all know what follows next.
You are not free to leave this plane until you complete a task for me. You are to hunt and kill the master of this house. Do this one thing and you will be free. Else fear the wrath of Uriel. Everything is complete for your arrival, Master. Now we must wait for the planets to align, and that is not too many years from now. Another Roivas has crossed our path. This time, we will not be so merciful.
Mercy has no place in this world.
He will meet such a horrible death that the rest of the line will never set foot in his house again.
Pray to me that they don't.
Well, it seems like, despite his tactical cunning, this plan of Pius Augustus didn't pan out the way he expected it to, did it? In any case, time to read A Legacy of Darkness.
My education in psychiatry did not prepare me. I would love to see how Freud's view of his mother would change with the knowledge of Chaturga. How Skinner would incorporate Zellertath into his behaviorist theories. How Jung would accommodate Ulioth into his theory of the collective unconscious. Like my ancestor Maximilian, I too had an interest in my family tree. As a psychiatrist, I believed that science could provide answers into my family's sordid, bizarre past. It was with great excitement that I began my search. The mansion's history was filled with my colorful predecessors. Everything from convicted and hung witches to committed madmen, each laying their own peculiar mark on its character. I intended to find their secrets.
And here we are, in Edward's chapter. Finally, we get to see the exploits of Alexandra's grandfather, determined to discover his family's secret, because that turned out very well for Maximilian, didn't it? Politely, she asks Edward if there is anything she can do for him. You can see that this area is rather changed now. The door to the observatory is non-existent. It is obviously a latter addition to the house, by Edward himself, perhaps. This part of the library is reserved to the entertaining of the house's more scholarly guests. The simple yet elegant layout affords quiet drink and conversation. Alright, let's check this book out. It sticks out like a sore thumb. A journal of family history rests on the mantel, as if used recently. Anything to add here? Edward? No. Alright. Let's check out the historical journal. An old, musty book, bound in dry, dusty leather. This book covers the early history of the Roivas family, dating back before the settlers in this land. There appears to be something pressed between the pages. Let's get it out. A minute hand of a clock. Oh, this looks familiar, doesn't it? Alright. Let us see. What else can we find here? This vase wasn't here either during Alexandra's time. And it looks like Edward Roivas himself is quite the affluent man. He has quite a few servants to help him clean this house. Alright, let's check out this chamber. See if anything's changed.
You know who I am, Edward. Although you are doing your best not to believe it, I am, or was, Maximilian Roivas, your ancestor. I died in an asylum after trying to warn the world. The pain and anguish I felt in that cell has empowered me to linger after my death. I must complete what I started, Edward. The darkness must be stopped, or all of humanity may end. Sets the clock to the 33rd minute of the 3rd hour.
This is a hint that we, as the players, know. But Edward just learned. It seems that Maximilian was the one who created that secret passage over there. Edward's favorite reading chair faces a healthy, warm fire. No doubt, many cold nights are ahead. Perhaps you don't expect that they will be as cold as a grave, Edward. An ancient scroll of paper sits on the chair. Ah, a magic pool. This is one of the rather useful spells, but you don't have a particular use for it. You will see what I mean. See, I don't have the Tome of Eternal Darkness yet, so we cannot check it to see what it does exactly. But we will when the time is right. Now, as we saw earlier, there's something else in Edward's inventory. Liquid Courage. A small flask of the old sauce. Liquid Courage. A magical elixir to power one's spirit in the face of adversity. Bottoms up. Using this will regain sanity. Oh, Edward. Quite the eclectic taste, this man. Alright. You can hear that it's raining. If you didn't already realize from the rumbling thunder outside. A thick layer of grime on the window prevents Edward from looking out into the garden. Despite the efforts of the servants Edward hires, the mansion continues to sink into decay. Almost as if its nature itself is soiled. Don't suppose you're willing to go outside for a walk in the rain now, are you, Edward? Edward's curiosity can't leave the mystery alone. He drives himself to uncover the truth behind the mansion and his ancestors. So we already have a minute hand of a clock in our hands. Now we need an hour. A large carriage clock sitting on the foyer table. Beautifully crafted, but it appears to be stuck, with hands permanently set to 3:33. Alright. Is there anything behind it, though? No. Alright then. Some hiccups here in the frame rate. The servant notices Edward's presence and comments on the weather. Idle chit-chat. Ah, this is the man who was hanging there. Very interesting. As Edward nears, the servant stops mumbling to herself and asks him if he thinks the weather will clear up before the solstice. Edward finds this reference to the solstice rather odd and ponders its significance. Indeed. What does it matter? Nothing in here. A grandiose kitchen fireplace. With all the amenities of modern life, it hasn't been used in quite some time. Yes, another servant talking about the weather. Nothing else of interest in here. check out the dining room. Quite a lot of vases Edward has. Although he did mention he has had quite the eclectic taste. Edward has never learned the piano, but that has not stopped him from hammering away at the keys now and again. It is very therapeutic. Perhaps one day he would learn it properly. Ah, excellent. The antique cavalry saber, mounted on a display stand, gleams into the moonlight. Puttering around with the crockery, the servant informs Edward that the table has been set for him just as he likes it. Oh, yes, indeed. We know about that diagram, don't we? Alright, so now we have a weapon in our hands. That's quite good. Let's check upstairs. As you can see, the door has been rather elaborate during Edward's time. I wonder what he did and why he changed it. Can't see anything. But Edward does have some comments. Brooding, melancholic paintings adorn the walls. Strange choices of decoration for a bedroom. Each one seethes with a virulence that could only have been wrought by an unsound mind. And yet you never chose to pull them down, Edward. What does that say about you? An expansive fireplace, inset on the wall, faces a bed. No doubt if it were lit, it would make the room quite cozy. Courteously, the servant asks if Edward is in good health. Now, with the shotgun shells, I'm certainly in good health. Same painting, same comments here. Anything else in here, perhaps? No comments on yourself, Edward, like Maximilian did? The master bedroom is woefully Spartan and only... Sorry, the master bathroom is woefully Spartan and only barely contemporary. It appears to satisfy the most practical of tastes, or perhaps someone who has their mind set on other things. Like Edward, perhaps. Although he still has a servant, so he is being taken care of quite well, you could say. This is one of the longest and, in my opinion, most grueling chapters in the game. You will see why. Ah, this room here. Some shotgun shells, so you know that we're gonna find some shotguns sooner or later. Elephant gun ammunition. Now that is interesting. Yes, we are in good health, thank you very much. I want to examine this, though. Edward is reassured at the sight of the family gun cabinet, itself a priceless antique. He would rather not have to smash the windows to get inside, but where did he leave the key? Where indeed, Edward? A journal of family history rests on the bench. And there we have it. An old, musty book, bound in dry, dusty leather. This book covers the recent history of the Roivas family, going back perhaps 150 years. There appears to be something pressed between the pages. An hour hand of a clock. And now we have all we need. But before we use the clock, let's see what else has changed. The gun cabinet is still here. Ah, there's the servant. Muttering to herself as she works, the servant comments on how the mansion is never really clean. Quite the astute observation. This room is a holdover from the days when the servants were all residential help, living in the mansion. Rumor has it that the old servants' quarters were demolished long ago. Now that we mention it, let's see, is that door here? Or has it been boarded up? For the love of God. She informs Edward that she believes the weather will worsen and that she hasn't heard it being this bad for many decades. Ah, this is familiar though. An exorbitant and out-of-place stained glass window ends the hallway. Whoever put it here had eclectic tastes and confirms Edward's belief that the mansion is more folly than a real house. Alright, time to visit that secret chamber at last, I think. And what about the basement door? Locked. One thing I didn't mention is Edward's statistics. Being a scholar, his spirit and psyche are strong, but His constitution is quite low. In any case, we won't have a problem since with such a large magic pool, he can cast a lot of spells. A looming grandfather clock stands ominously in the corner, gazing in the empty room with an almost patriarchal air of its own. The ghost asks Edward to set the clock, but there are no hands on it. Edward must find the clock hand so he can set it properly. Lucky for us, we've already procured them. And there we go. The ghost asks Edward to set the clock, and now, with 2 hands on the clock face, it can be adjusted. There we go, come on. Slowly does it.
Take them and use them. They are humanity's only hope. Destroy the Guardians, Edward, and avenge my waste and death.
And that we will, Edward. Rather, Maximilian. But we will do that next time. Till then, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And until next time, take care.